What's up guys, Mike here, the Detroit Borg, and today we finally get a look at the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. I'm going to compare them in this video to see what exactly you might want to pick up. So the 7 and 7 Plus dimensionally are identical to the 6S and 6S Plus, but we get a tweaked design and a host of new features, from waterproofing for the first time, all new cameras on the front and back, a brighter display with a wider color gamut, in addition to stereo speakers, which is great to finally have on an iPhone. We also get better battery life, thanks partly to the new A10 CPU, which is more powerful but more efficient as well. They've also made some other controversial changes, such as eliminating the headphone jack, and the home button is no longer a physical button, instead it vibrates when you press it. We also get a new design which comes with two brand new colors, black and jet black. We're going to take a look at both of them in this video. Now once again, the iPhone is available in 3 capacities, but this time they've doubled them for the same price as they were last year. 32, 128 gigs, and for the first time, 256 gigs. Now, if you want the jet black model, you'll have to spring for 128 gigs or better in order to get it. So getting to the unboxing, Apple has redesigned the packaging for this generation. So we do have the colors front and center on each cover. But of course, if you get the jet black version, you're going to get a very distinctive black box to go with it. So it's a bit different than the rest of them. So of course, I have one of each color to show off so we can take a look at them side by side. So let's get started with the iPhone 7. Now the plastic surrounding the packaging is now much easier to take off. They actually give you a tab to pull it off. So previously you actually had to cut the plastic off, so they've made this a little simpler. So next up we can go ahead and lift up the lid, and the first thing you see here won't be the phone, it's actually the paperwork. So this is a little packet that pulls up, and once you get that out of the way you can see the phone. Inside we'll find some paperwork, including a quick start guide, which is a bit different than we've seen in previous generations, so it explains some of the features here. We also have the regulatory and warranty information, in addition to Apple stickers, which are now on this clear plastic sheet. And unfortunately all these stickers are still white, so they're not color matched to the phone. So getting to the phone itself, it does have a little plastic tab along the bottom, so we can use this to pull it out of the box. So it's wrapped in plastic to keep it nice and protected, and we can go ahead and peel this off. And of course, that's the last time this phone is going to be this clean looking, especially with these black colors. Now next up, let's get to the accessories, which have been redesigned for this generation of iPhone. First up, we have something that hasn't changed, and that is the 5-watt power adapter, which comes with every iPhone 7. Next up, we have the new lightning connected earpods. So we don't get the wireless AirPods in the iPhone 7. That's a separate accessory that you have to purchase, but you do get wired headphones that connect directly to the lightning connector. Also included here is the adapter for traditional analog headphones. So you do get that with every iPhone 7 purchase, so at least you have an adapter in order to use your old headphones. And lastly, at the bottom of the box, we get our lightning cable. So getting to the unboxing of the iPhone 7 Plus, obviously identical to the iPhone 7, just scaled up to size. So all you have to do is remove that plastic sleeve, pop open the lid, and inside, first thing you'll see is the paperwork. Setting that aside, we'll find the phone just below it, wrapped in plastic, which comes off very easily. And of course, I have the gold version in this case, as well as the silver version. And in terms of the accessories, they're also identical. They're just more widely spaced for the bigger box. So when it comes to setup, it's pretty familiar for any iPhone. There's a few differences here, but for the most part, it's the same as the iPhone 6S. So we can go ahead and set up our Touch ID sensor, Apple Pay, and Siri voice recognition, which can be done wirelessly as you could with the iPhone 6S. But new here is the new home button. So you get an explanation of how the home button works, and you can actually customize the intensity of the taptic click that replicates the home button press. So you can go with very light, medium, or high intensity. Now personally, I prefer the medium because the higher intensity one feels a little like the screen is clicking at the bottom, while the medium intensity feels just about right. In terms of the design, Apple describes this as refined, and I think that's a good way of putting it. It looks a lot like the previous generation, has the same dimensions, but does have some welcome tweaks here. And one of them is the antenna design. So they've been able to integrate the antennas into the casing of the phone, which means we have smaller antenna stripes along the top and bottom. I think this is a big improvement visually. Now if you get one of the dark black colors, you can see that the lines are virtually invisible, so you have a very minimal look, much more stealthy than before with space gray. And of course, if you get the other colors, they're whiter, so they contrast more sharply. The other change here is the camera design is now much more integrated into the body of the chassis, so it looks a little stronger, and I think looks a lot better. At the bottom edge, of course, things have changed quite a bit here. So the headphone jack is removed, and instead we have this very symmetrical design. So it looks like we have stereo speakers, but in reality, we have one loudspeaker and microphones on the other side. Apple just wants that symmetrical design so it looks more attractive. But once again, they pay a lot of attention to detail, right down to the speaker grills matching the color of the phone. So when it comes to the other buttons, they're in the same place as they were before. On the right side, we'll find our thumb reachable power button, and on the left side, we'll find our volume controls up and down. Now they did make a slight tweak to the iPhone 7 volume key, so gone is that recession from the iPhone 6S, now it's a much simpler look. Also found on the right side is our Nano SIM tray, and there's a difference here because we have a water-resistant design. The SIM tray also has a gasket built into it, so that's a new feature if you look very closely. Now, although you can't tell by looking at it, the home buttons have also been redesigned and they're solid state this time, so there is no physical click. But instead of a mechanical click, the Taptic engine replicates a click at the bottom of the phone. It feels exactly like a click. It doesn't feel like a vibration, but it's not quite as localized as I was expecting it to. It actually feels like the bottom of the phone is clicking, not just the button itself. We also get stereo speakers for the first time on an iPhone 7. So we have one loudspeaker at the bottom, and the earpiece now acts as a loudspeaker as well. So that delivers twice the volume of the previous iPhone 6s and 6s Plus. This also gives us a much wider dynamic range, and the phone is smart enough to know whether you're holding it in portrait or landscape orientation and reorientates the stereo speakers for optimal audio quality. So let's go ahead and take a listen to what it sounds like compared to the iPhone 6s. About a year ago, Apple launched a product called the iPhone Lightning Dock, and when the iPhone 6s came out, they launched them in aluminum versions with colors that matched the iPhones. Well, with the iPhone 7, they've had to add a new color, and that is black. So this is designed to accompany the new black color, along with a new jet black color that's coming with the iPhone 7. Another big deal here is that this is the first iPhone to get an IP67 certification, which means it's dust and water resistant. In terms of water resistance, this means you can submerge the phone in 1 meter of water for up to 30 minutes, so don't take it swimming. But this will do a much better job protecting your phone in those accidents or if you're out in the rain. So when it comes to the displays, once again, they're the same size and resolution as the 6S and 6S Plus. So we have a 4.7-inch and a 5.5-inch screen. The 4.7-inch comes in a resolution at 750 by 1334, good for 326 ppi, while the 7 Plus has a full 1080p display, good for 401 pixels per inch. So that's definitely the sharper display here. Both of them are once again LCD IPS panels with dual domain pixels, which delivers fantastic off-axis viewing, which also gives us very deep and dark contrast with bright, vivid colors. Now, speaking of brightness, both displays are 25% brighter than the previous model. The displays also pick up the same Cinema P3 spec of some of their Mac models, which means we have a much wider color gamut available for this phone. Now, this is great because it can also display the wider color gamut of the new camera system. Now, comparing the iPhone 7 to the 6S displays side by side, the thing that jumps out right away to me is that the 7 looks a lot warmer than the 6S. The 6S has a much cooler color temperature, but the iPhone 7 definitely has a wider color gamut, so it looks a lot more